like to share with you. Who cares? It's true. I say to you, hey, hey, it's true. You are more than you have ever been told that you are, and I would like for you to know the truth as to who and whose you are. It's true that you can do so much more than you've ever learned to, and so now I say to you, if you would like to be the man or woman of your own life, just take authority back. The author I tie my identity to is me. My self-image is the image of myself and what I see myself to be. It's true that ye may not be able to see me when I'm live, because I'm highly shadow banned and it's okay. What do you say? I hope you're having a great day. And now I say to you, I'm gonna read the email I wrote yesterday morning. And when I do, I hope you like it. And if you don't, that's okay to be. 'Cause not every creative thing is brilliant to everyone. And that's okay. And I say, listen anyway, for it contains many valuable pieces, and I hope they serve you well. Maybe they'll trigger some cognitive dissonance in you, and if it does, well, let yourself just sit in the discomfort of the emotions that get triggered in the moment when something new comes into your consciousness. Recognize that your inner kingdom is the equivalent of a household with a firm family who doesn't want no baby coming in the way of its all, of how it has always been. Herein, it's great to see you, and I say it's been a long time, because I went down into the depths of me and found the book that took 5 years to write in a month. It's ready now, and this video I'm about to record for you captures a piece of it fully committed. The sacred sojourn of now is the title of it, and now listen here, if you dare or if you care. Either way, I wish you to play in your day where you are. It's great to be with you again. And now I'll stop singing, even though I don't necessarily want to. I'm in a singing mood. It is true, but let us do what I was gonna do on my own. So I'm just gonna do it live, actually. And I hope you enjoy. I wrote this yesterday morning at 5 a.m. and it took 50 minutes, so it's not short, but it is true so far as what I believe it to be and know it to be. And so I hope that I can do it in a one-off, and I might need to reverse. I am actually using a teleprompter for once. Normally I just freestyle it, as you know, but today I'm going to just do it a little different because I really feel like this is a significant message that you can feel within you. And when I was singing about cognitive dissonance, recognize that your body is like a household that already has all of the members that really like their place within the unit, and they don't want to be disturbed by a little baby idea that is going to come in there and shake things up. So we're all fighting for space. Space and time is the reality that we think we're in. And earlier this morning, actually, last night, I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about the whole concept of the two worlds breaking apart. It's actually not a literal thing so far as what I believe it to be. It's actually in consciousness. It's just the divergence of consciousness. One rises and then the other is losing will. And so it's actually diminishing in capacity, because the more power we give away, then the less free choice we have, which is how we take up space, or we give our space to others, and then we just go into smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller boxes, because that's what the corporate model does, as I break down in Fully Committed, the Sacred Sojourn of Now. So I'm gonna just get going on this script. I'm just gonna have a look and see if you said anything else. Oh, Bruiser, Jared, awesome to see you guys. When am I not in a singing mood? It happens. Sometimes when I go into a low space, this is the thing actually about emotions. I have come to believe that our emotions have different personalities. So if you actually call back soul fragments, which are emotions, are energies in motion that take us out of the now, because if we're in the now, we're in a state of being present, present to here, where we are, where all of our power exists as well, but in a state of energy and motion where we suppressed energies in the past that are showing up in the moment we get triggered because we get hit with the momentums of all that which we didn't deal with before. Those energies in motion will take us out of the now. And those are aspects of ourselves that we never dealt with. So it's like within the mine of our lives, we went in and we did all of the work to get the rubble and the debris, and we put it into the cart, and we started pushing the cart down the trail. And we got almost to the quarry station, or maybe only halfway there, or even less. And we got so frustrated because it's so heavy and it's so much work. Think about the inner work. Nobody can see that it's happening, so there's no rewards. Nobody's going to celebrate you or congratulate you other than others who are doing it. And it's just like, God, I know you're in the midst of it. Well done for keeping going, and you've got this. It's hard and you'll get through it. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. But seriously, if you can make it a little lighter, it helps. But if you dump all of that rubble and debris over halfway through or partway through, and you don't get it to the quarry station, you don't get to mine all of the gold that is in the experience that you went through. You already went through the trauma. Why not go back and just get the lessons out of it, so that you can separate the energies in motion from the experience, is my thought process around it. And maybe you have a different one, and that's cool. Just recognize what is yours, what someone else's, and when you're taking on someone else's projections and taking it in. Because what I've come to learn as well, or see, is that knowledge is the ledge we have come to know because someone told us that was the edge. Well, what if that was just the edge of their comfort zone and they didn't want you to go any further? Because, like those members of the household within, they were really uncomfortable when you went further because they were scared for you and they didn't like being triggered that way. So they just said, stop it. And then when you took that on and you stopped because that was the ledge they knew, you didn't actually get to gain wisdom, which is lived experience. And it's also the wizard's domain because you are a wizard. The eye mage, the image, what is a mage but a creator, one who brings into fruition that which was not born before? You birthed it into this reality, recognizing too that in the court of law, they'll ask, what is your date of birth? That's under Admiralty Maritime Law. Ships move. It's called the birthing of a ship. We're not birthed, my friend, just so that if you ever are in a situation, you're clear. The date I was born as a man or a woman into this world was X date. I'm a 1010 baby, just in case you wonder. When is your birthday? I wonder. I am sharing all of this because, going back to the quarry notion, if we don't go all the way to the quarry station with the experiences, then we lock up aspects of ourselves that have personalities, that have held on to the experience of not being wanted, not being loved, not being accepted. And that is really difficult to come back into because it's really uncomfortable. None of us like to feel that in the now, which is the only moment that we ever experience anything. Yet when we get triggered by the part of us we're calling back into ourselves, to come back into greater wholeness within ourselves, the CELLS of the vessel that transports the soul through this life in, and to ourselves, which is the self-image and who we see ourselves to be because of how we feel in this space. We have to recognize that acceptance is the only way that we change how that part of us feels. So when I don't feel like singing, generally it's because I've called back a part of me that never felt wanted, never felt loved, never felt good enough. All of the limiting beliefs, BS, that part of me held onto in a not now moment for all of that time, when she comes back to me, and there are many of those aspects of myself I left behind in not now moments that I call back into the now and then have to reintegrate, that's when I don't feel like singing, Bruiser. So great question. And I share that because I hope that it helps you in becoming more conscious of when you call back aspects of yourself, and to recognize that if our emotions actually have personalities of their own, when we go into lower states, and then we think that maybe we're bringing back a part of us that never felt good enough, or loved, or wanted, or needed, or any of those not enoughs that so many of us struggle with, because the two core ideas are not worthy, not enough. So when we can break through those, and in the book, I actually talk about our inner web being individual needs necessitate emotional resilience, resonance, and respect, which respect was always missing until recently for me in terms of my understanding of inner as an acronym, but also in so many aspects of my life. And respect comes after belonging, safety, and survival within the hierarchy of motivational needs, according to Abraham Maslow. And self-actualization comes after respect. But so oftentimes when we're chasing self-actualization, and we're tripping on respect because we're belonging with those that we think we have to gain knowledge from to know their ledge instead of becoming the wizard of our own domain, we trip on respect for ourselves because we're respecting someone else's BS more than what we're trusting the intuition, the teacher our soul hired ahead of time to guide us through in this life. We're trusting someone else more than the voice within us that we came here to birth something new with. So I hope that's useful. I would love to hear your food for thought that brought up for you. I will be sharing this to my YouTube channel after, and would appreciate if you would share this message with someone that needs to hear it as well. So it is my same name, and I would love for you to be subscribed to that channel if you aren't already, and then to also know that I'm going to have a lot more information and insights coming, for it is the inner sight from the intuition that we can either let guide us or we can suppress for the sake of someone else's ledge. So now that you're in the know, or is it the wisdom, we're going to get to that which I came on here to bring to you live. 12:33. Woo-hoo-hoo! All right. Hey, 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 Laura J here with an important distinction I want to share about who I am, what I do, and why it matters to you. In my recently published book, Fully Committed, The Sacred Sojourn of Now, I say I am an empowerment coach with an alternative approach, and quite the tale to tell about how I recognize the pattern, more commonly called a habit, of placing my power outside of myself, which led me into the Mental Health Act that I believe could fast become the Health Act if we fail to get clear on where we stand within the hierarchy of creation now, before the next push or wave of fear-mongering that will come. But need not worry us, for worry is like a rocking chair, and if we know who and whose we are, our boat will stay afloat despite the agendas at play to disturb our peace. I am also the founder of Peaceful Inner Warriors United and untied from the matrix where matrix without meaning to, because she bought lies she didn't even realize her identity was tied to, with the authority she let tell her who and whose she belonged to and wanted to, for the highest status wins in this here game, and our souls are the real currency on the line. Whether that be the timeline of our lifeline or the death line we're being trolled by in a con for our consciousness, that will try to get us to buy the lies hook, line, and sinker without liability, I believe it is time to disqualify everyone from the public liability the legal fiction have granted all who buy in and then have to swear an oath of allegiance to the bar society they have to limbo under in order to stay relevant, which often drives the men and women acting to the bar to wash down the toxicity of playing with and representing the devil, while the ones on the line for crimes that have no victim, which by common law standards means there was no crime, pay with their lives for being real as an implied surety for a person they've been convinced they are. I go into all of this deeper in my book because it took me getting locked up under the modern day witch hunt, legalized and normalized as the Mental Health Act, to realize that if you don't know your rights, you don't have the rights you thought you did. But when my person got summoned for speaking at a rally in 2021, I discovered that if you don't claim your rights, you don't have anything to stand on in a corrupted system that is lacking in responsibility, accountability, and liability for the men and women wearing suits of protection in the form of titles, statuses, and personages that change the original into something other than we truly are for the sake of converting us into a lesser thing we believe ourselves to be. I have been using lawful notices to address an implied charge against my person that I have claimed the right to not be an implied surety for, nor do I believe de facto law applies to me, as I now know that the common law is unwritten and unlimited and can be pulled from any time a right I claim is violated, and the same is true for you. Having claimed the right to lawfully self-govern last year via the lawful notices that have been ignored as best as the men and women acting on behalf of the Provincial Offences Act and related corporate bodies have been able to do to date, the trial I have on October 31st, 2022, for speaking as a woman in my private capacity with all common law rights reserved at all times is fraudulent, and the ones moving it forward are liable, responsible, and accountable for causing harm, loss, and fraud against a woman who has taken all the suits of protection off the men and women I can see. And I am willing to stand naked as I am to ensure my name is cleared, and the ones acting in bad faith pay for their choices, as our souls will do in the end anyway. I believe we have let religions divide us as a part of a devious plan we didn't know we were playing our part in perfectly, which is why I correct my status as an empowerment coach, author, and founder of Peaceful Inner Warriors United to instead say I am the woman who wrote a book on how I learned to break the spell we've all been under, with the words I don't believe we can throw around as if they're not worth their weight in gold, as we are who are born, not birthed, any longer than we already have, and who uses my coach training to guide people on the journey inward, which I call the sacred sojourn of the soul that we are all walking as we transform our personal and collective identities and become the author of a life worth living. No longer turning to authority figures who pose and pretend to have power while they're paid to fulfill orders they may or may not realize or care about the harm their actions are causing others. Liability protection, the ability to lie, has diluted our conscience, so the paycheck has trumped the harm caused by fulfilling the orders behind it. But I have heard that evil can only prevail when good men and women do nothing because they thought someone else was going to do for them what only we can do for ourselves. Taking a stand without the suits of protection or statuses that alter the original. As men and women born in the likeness and image of the Creator we all come from and return to and feel separated from others for differing hue and BS, belief systems, in the meantime, is how we do it. Fully committed, the sacred sojourn of now paints a fuller picture and covers some crazy ground in the process. An official book launch and signing will take place at Soulshine Festival in Blackstock, Ontario, between September 2nd to 4th, 2022. And other opportunities to connect will be created, for that is what we're meant to do: connect and create. So let's do it together as we gather in common unity and see that we have become divided within ourselves, and that is how the divide and conquer war strategy laid out in Event 201 was meant to play out. These acts are crap, and we don't have to play in pools where color of law or color of right have tainted the waters we're collectively swimming in any longer. Dare I say, doing so is dangerous, and we've already been warned, for that is how black magic works. The rules and plan must be laid out plainly, so it can be said we were warned before we lost our lives as a result of gambling with dishonest characters. And in the process, we've put our souls on a sketchy line. Make claims via lawful notices. Take names. And let's stand as originals who call for responsibility, accountability, and liability without the extra E for the energy we've been using against ourselves until now. We can turn this ship around, and we will, because we choose to do it now together. So let's do it, as men and women, for who else is truly real in this life? Lori J. Namaste. Delight in me honors, delight in you. There we go. So my friends, that was the video that I wanted to make because I was going to do it on my own in as many takes as it took. And then I thought, hey, you know, it'd be great to see some of my friends. And so I'm so glad that I did. And I appreciate you for jumping on at whatever point you did too. And I very much do look forward to hearing what this message meant to you, for you, and what you're going to do with it. As I always say, it is your action that changes the way you know things into having lived them. And that is how you then become the wisdom, or you gain the wisdom and become the wizard that you came here to be as the individuated expression of the grand overall designer, creator of all that is. Until then, we created government and other corporate bodies that made things they then converted us into in order for us to fall under their jurisdiction. Juris being of right or of law, and diction being what is spoke or wrote. For corporations, the corpse that orates the truth and leads to profits when we could be the prophets of our own lives. You see, the F versus the PH. You're in the PhD of life. You just don't get the degree until the very end. And then you say, oh, that was nice. But you're no longer in the flesh to see how nice it could be if you don't take responsibility for creating the life you came here to lead. I hope you will. I send you love. Lori J. Namaste. Thanks for tuning in today.